At a lonely desert rest stop, an old pickup truck was parked. At first, no one noticed. Inside the truck bed sat a terrified little girl, her wrists bound, her cheeks streaked with dirt and tears. Dozens of travelers walked past her without noticing a thing. Not one person realized the danger sitting right in front of them. She couldn't scream. Her captor had warned her what would happen if she did. But she had one chance left. A rhythmic pattern her father, a canine unit trainer, had taught her years ago. If you're ever trapped, use the signal. It will help you. She tapped her heel once against the metal bed, then twice. The sound was softer than a heartbeat. A signal so small, so quiet, no human would ever notice. And somehow, the 14 canine dogs heard it. Their ears snapped upward, their bodies stiffened. Then, without a single command, they sprang into action, sprinting straight toward her. Something was terribly wrong, and only the police dogs knew it. What happened next shocked everyone. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And Willie, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. 6-year-old Lily Carter loved road trips more than anything. She and her father Daniel spent the whole drive singing songs, counting trucks, and pretending the clouds were animals racing across the sky. Daniel was a canine unit trainer, calm, gentle, and known for teaching some of the smartest police dogs in the state. But to Lily, he was simply Daddy, her best friend in the world. When they pulled into a dusty desert rest stop, Daniel parked the truck and stepped out to grab drinks from the vending machine. Lily waited inside, humming softly, kicking her feet. It only took 10 seconds. 10 seconds for a stranger to grab her, cover her mouth, and drag her into the back of his pickup. By the time Daniel turned around, she was gone. His heart dropped. He screamed her name, sprinting across the lot, checking every car, every corner, every shadow. Police arrived minutes later, launching a statewide search. Amber alerts lit up phones. Helicopters were called. But Lily wasn't scared. Not yet. Because she remembered something her father always told her, kneeling in front of their canines. If you're ever in danger, give the dogs the signal. They'll come. The old pickup truck rattled down the highway, dust swirling behind it as the kidnapper gripped the steering wheel with shaking hands. He didn't stop until he reached another isolated rest stop, a forgotten patch of cracked pavement surrounded by endless desert. There were people around, but none paid attention. Travelers stretched, checked their phones, and hurried back to their cars, never once glancing toward the truck parked near the sand. In the back, Lily lay curled against the metal bed, her wrists bound with rough rope, her cheeks streaked with dirt and tears. She tried to scream the moment he threw her inside, but he pressed a finger to his lips and hissed. Make one sound, and you won't like what happens next. Since then, she hadn't spoken. She hadn't moved. She just breathed slowly, quietly, thinking. Lily knew no one here would hear her. No one was watching. No one even noticed the frightened little girl hidden in the truck bed. But something else her father taught her whispered in her mind. Canines don't need to see you. They only need to hear the signal. It was her only chance. Small, risky, and almost impossible. But Lily wasn't giving up. Lily wiped her tears with the back of her bound hands, forcing herself to breathe the way her father had taught her. Slow, quiet, focused. She shifted slightly, the metal truck bed cold beneath her legs. If she screamed, the kidnapper would hear. If she moved too much, he'd notice. But a tiny sound, a tiny rhythm, that he wouldn't understand. She lifted her heel once against the metal bed, then twice, then 3 times in a precise pattern. The pattern her father had practiced with her countless times while laughing in their backyard. Tap, 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 tap. The secret canine distress code. The sound was barely louder than a heartbeat. No humans at the rest stop reacted. Cars continued to come and go. A woman snapped pictures of the sunset. A trucker washed his windshield. Nobody noticed the faint metallic tapping from the back of the old pickup. But half a mile away, in a dusty training field behind the sheriff's substation, something incredible happened. 15 police dogs froze mid-exercise. Their ears snapped upward, their bodies stiffened. Then, without a single command, they turned in unison toward the desert highway and bolted. They sprinted faster than the officers had ever seen, kicking up clouds of sand, weaving between cactus and rock, driven by a single instinct. A child was calling them, and they were answering. Dust exploded behind the pack of canines as they tore across the desert like a tidal wave of fur and muscle. Their paws hammered the ground in perfect rhythm, ears pinned forward, eyes locked on the distant highway. The trainer shouted, "Stop! Come back!" But the dogs didn't even glance back. Something urgent was pulling them forward, something stronger than commands, stronger than instinct. A child's signal. Deputies scrambled into their vehicles, speeding after the pack. Radios crackled with confusion. Why are they running? Where are they going? What did they hear? The answer revealed itself moments later. As the dogs neared the rest stop, they slowed, noses lifted, sniffing the hot desert wind. Then together, they turned toward an old pickup truck parked near the sand. The lead dog, a massive German shepherd named Rex, let out a deep, booming bark. Inside the truck bed, Lily jerked her head up. "Doggies," she whispered through trembling lips. The kidnapper saw the dogs approaching and panicked. He jumped into his truck, fumbling with the keys, but the canines surrounded the vehicle before he could start the engine. They snapped, growled, and blocked every exit. Rex leapt onto the tailgate, his paws landing inches from Lily. She gasped, tears flooding her eyes, not from fear, but from overwhelming relief. "Help me," she whispered, and Rex barked once, loud enough to shake the desert, signaling the officers roaring in behind them. The chase was over. Deputy cars screeched into the rest stop, lights flashing across the sand as officers jumped out with weapons drawn, only to freeze at the sight before them. 15 police dogs had completely surrounded the pickup truck, forming a living wall of fur, snarls, and flashing teeth. The kidnapper sat inside, trembling, unable to move without a growl erupting from every direction. "Stand down," an officer shouted, but the canines didn't budge. They weren't attacking. They were guarding. Rex remained on the tailgate, his body shielding Lily, his eyes burning into the kidnapper. When deputies approached, Rex finally stepped aside, allowing them access. "Sweetheart, we've got you," an officer whispered as he lifted Lily from the truck bed. Her small arms wrapped around his neck, and she burst into tears. The first sound she dared to make in hours. The moment her feet touched the ground, all 15 dogs circled her, bumping their noses gently against her legs, whining softly, as if checking she was real and safe. Body cam footage captured everything. The signal, the sprint, the rescue, the impossible coordination. Officers stared in disbelief. "What made them run like that?" one whispered. Lily sniffled, wiping her eyes. I called them," she said softly. "Daddy taught me how." The deputy holding her froze, his voice cracking. "You mean the canine code?" News crews would later call this moment the miracle at Desert Mile 47. But for Lily, it was simply the moment she was saved by her heroes. The next morning, the sheriff's department lobby was overflowing. Reporters, officers, dog handlers, and canines sitting proudly beside their partners. Little Lily sat in the front row, wrapped in a soft blanket, clutching her father's old canine training patch. Her father Daniel knelt beside her, still shaken but endlessly grateful. When the sheriff stepped up to the podium, the room fell silent. "Yesterday," he began, 15 police dogs broke formation and sprinted across the desert with no command. They located and rescued a 6-year-old missing girl, all because she used a signal meant only for K9 units. Gasps filled the room, cameras clicked. Daniel placed a hand on Lily's shoulder. "I taught her that pattern when she was little," he said softly. "I just never imagined she'd ever need to use it." A trainer stepped forward. "That signal is faint, nearly impossible for humans to notice. But canines, to them, it's a shout." One by one, the dogs walked up to Lily. She smiled, giving each of them a small metal-shaped dog biscuit the officers had prepared. Rex lowered his head, and Lily wrapped her arms around his neck. The entire room melted. Heroes don't always carry badges. Sometimes they carry instincts and a bond strong enough to defy fear, distance, and even silence. Lily left the station hand in hand with her father, and 15 dogs followed her to the door like loyal shadows.